Like most of the greats, Conor McGregor has his own inspirational life story, and it all started with him being an ordinary boy in Dublin. He was a boy with a dream. The way he owns the ring can make you believe that he's boxing royalty, when in fact he's worked his way up to the throne himself. Before that, his life was anything but easy. He came from a working class family that lived off welfare. He even dropped out of school to start working when he was just a young teen. It's impossible to believe that the man we see in the media now was just a plumber back in the day. Yeah, a plumber. That's the job he picked up when he was out of high school. But soon enough, he realized that he wasn't so crazy about plumbing. He still didn't drop the job though. He kept at it for a while until he started believing in his actual dream.
Competition. I love competition. I love it. It's getting harder to find it. Getting harder and harder to find it.
Now, after he's achieved his wildest dreams, he still looks back on those hard times, and he's super humble about his struggles.
I am happy that I have put martial arts in the spotlight in my country and shown it for what it is.
I know, not something you'd expect from the loudmouth Irish, but under the arrogant and egotistical surface is actually a pretty down-to-earth guy.
I truly believe we are all equal as human beings if we are obsessed with something and we truly pursue our passion with everything we have.
Back in 2020, while he told Bleacher Report all about his early struggles, he mentioned that he's grateful for all the people who relate to them. The year that McGregor got off welfare was 2013.
No matter what you do, my father always jokes that I'd be doing anything and my mother would still be my biggest fan.
Just a few days before his UFC debut, the final check cost around $220, but the Irishman would not be needing it anymore. He won his debut inside the octagon and earned like $60,000 from that first fight.
Work hard, put in the time, you will succeed, and that is a philosophy that I carry, my coaches carry. And
well, it wasn't an easy ride into the UFC. He didn't just drop plumbing one day and become a certified MMA fighter the next. McGregor started fighting in a small gym in his hometown of Crumlin when he was just 12 years old. That was the first step in his journey to joining the UFC.
If you're looking to a fight that could generate interest, it must be across a match of different styles.
After that came his move to Lucan, where he met future UFC fighter Tom Egan. It didn't take them long to become good buds, and one of the things that brought them together was boxing. Like the pair of kids they were, they'd mimic the fights they'd see on TV and try their best to learn how to fight. When they weren't practicing at Egan's house, they'd go and train at a nearby MMA gym. That's where the godfather of Irish MMA, John Kavanagh, noticed their raw talent and decided to take them under his wing.
I always carry Ireland with me anywhere I go on the planet, and the Irish come with me wherever I go on the planet. So
under his watchful eye, they became his prized students at the new Straight Blast gym in downtown Dublin.
These featherweights don't understand. Until they get hit by me, it's a whole other ball game when they get hit by me. So I said I'd knock him out in the first round.
But McGregor was an unpredictable loose cannon. This is one origin story you've seen over and over in films and TV shows, but in his case, it's true.
I feel absolutely amazing, to be honest. So I'm just enjoying life.
But look at the bigness of it all.
It's also one of the reasons he's got fans all over the world. The Irish lad from a working class gets back at his bullies by joining a boxing gym, but it takes him farther than he ever thought it would. The origin story also had a con. He was too angsty. Outside of the ring, he was as reckless and wild as any teenage boy. One time, before he'd even gotten his driver's license, he pushed Egan to let him drive his parents' car. First, he drove in perfect circles around an industrial park. As long as he was moving, he could control himself. But just when he was about to park, he hit the gas and went straight for the spot. The car crashed into the wall. He had forgotten to hit the brakes. In the ring, he'd fight like he meant to kill, and he'd fight pretty much anyone and knock them out. His first fight was in a tiny basketball gym in Dublin, but he was so far down on the undercard that his absence wasn't even noticed.
Society tells you, growing up, you should fantasize about kicking a ball and dream about that.
Believe it or not, he was late to his very first fight. Just 20 minutes before fight time, Kavanagh was blowing up his phone, and everyone was waiting for a forfeit. Just then, he burst through the door, jumped into the ring, cracked the guy a few times, knocked him out, and then jumped back out to get a few pints. What a legend! But he wasn't always as sure of himself either. The trash talking was a common habit, even in the days when he had just won one fight. That's the way he went into his second fight, imagining his win and shaming his opponent while he did so.
I mean, the man is running scared. I cannot force a man who is not willing to step in.
He would have never imagined that he'd lose in the first 69 seconds of the fight. That too in front of a crowd that had gathered to watch him win. There was pin drop silence in the gym. Safe to say this was a pretty embarrassing defeat.
I want to speak to everyone in the crowd. 4 years ago,
I fought in London at a place called the HMV Forum in front of about 500 people.
And McGregor was so embarrassed, he jumped out of the ring and ran out of the gym. He even stopped showing up for training after that miserable fight. Instead, he shoved himself further into his parents' couch. Eventually, his coach reached out and brought him back. He could only fight once more, and even though he won that fight, he went back to his parents' couch for the next 22 months.
I am the rule. I'm the only rule in this game, so it doesn't matter weight divisions. Nate said he was ready to fight at any time, but well, he wasn't. He wasn't ready to fight at 155.
While he'd been sulking at home, Egan was climbing the MMA ladder. He had made it onto the undercard at UFC 93 in June 2009. It was a huge moment for the Irish fighter, as he was the first Irish-born fighter to get into the big leagues. Sitting a few rows from the cage was McGregor, who saw what he wanted to be.
You know, I made history here tonight. I set another record. I'm the first fighter in UFC history to secure knockout victories.
An Irishman in the octagon, in the UFC. That was all he needed to get back up. Seeing his buddy reach the spot he had always wanted motivated him to try again, and this time he made sure to stay up.
I'm absolutely blown away by the support. I can't put into words how grateful I am for everyone.
He was fighting in tiny gyms around Ireland, while also working as a teacher in Kavanagh's. Slowly, McGregor started racking up wins, rounding up to a 4-2 record before he went on an 8-win streak. Each win added to the arrogance he has today. He was trash-talking on Irish message boards before he moved on to Twitter. Once he defended his Cage Warriors championship, the UFC signed him to a 5-fight contract. He was on the way to the airport for the first fight when he cashed in that very last welfare check.
There's a reason why we're at the top of the game. Because of me and because of you. And I appreciate every single one of you. Look, what's next for me, Joe?
As you all probably know, he TKO'd the journeyman Marcus Brimage in the first round. The win earned him $16,000, but it was his knockout of the night that earned him a handsome $60,000. And there began Mystic Mac's wildly entertaining and historical journey in the UFC. But the fighter as we know him today was fully realized after that. Sure, joining UFC was his biggest goal for a long time. Still, achieving that didn't mean he stopped growing as a fighter. He had not tapped into his full potential yet, but with the help of his training partners in UFC and his sister, he became the undefeatable beast we know today.
So I'm very, very happy, very proud tonight. My team has been phenomenal, the work has been phenomenal, the people have been phenomenal.
Brute force wasn't going to make him invincible. Intelligence was. That's why Gunnar Nelson, his Icelandic training partner, taught him how to channel his emotions in the octagon. He was able to develop the amazing fight IQ he had. On top of that, his sister got him a self-help book by Rhonda Byrne. He started believing in the art of manifestation and the law of attraction. As his belief in himself grew stronger, he motivated those around him too. And soon enough, he had gathered a legendary record.
You know, I like this weight division. I feel really good. It's good going up and down. I don't believe I'm there yet though. You know, I just still got work to do.
And that's all about Conor McGregor's insane boxing journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.